G'day my little playmates. I hope you're having a wonderful time there tonight. Sorry I can't be with you, but my country needs me on the battlefields of France. So that's where I'll be when you're listening to me now. So what I want to do today, or tonight as my little contribution, is to take you all on a little bit of a nostalgic trip around the town, and then there'll be a bit of a serious side. But before I do all that, I'm just going to slip off and change into something comfortable. Here we are, that's more comfortable. So we're here in Landsborough Street outside the grammar school, and this is where it all started back in February of 1967 when we put an ad in the paper and invited people to come along if they wanted to have a game of rugby. And so this is where the first training session occurred, so come with me and I'll show you where we were. Come with me. Oh, bloody lock gate. Wasn't locked in 1967. Right, now here we are at the Sports Reserve, where it all began. We played our first game, the Redskins had played their first game here on the 1st of April 1967. I don't know what you want to read into that date, but that's the day it was. And it was in fact the first game of rugby played in Queensland, north of Brisbane, since before the First World War. That day we played the Kiwis, and later on the RAF played University. I can't recall what the score was or even who won that first game. Perhaps it's been obliterated from my mind over the years, either because I wanted to or of my bad memory. But that's where it all happened, and from that day the Redskins were born. And so, if you'd like to come with me, I'll take you to the next little port of call. Now, after that first game, we came here to the Seaview Hotel. In fact, we came here after every game for the first couple of years. And not only us, but all the teams in the competition, because really in those days we were just one club with 4 teams in it. And where you see the wood-fired pizzas, there was a separate little bar in there, and that was the rugby bar. Right, now the City Club was only a temporary name for our first year, and at the end of the first year we decided we'd have a meeting and work out the permanent name for the club. So along we came here to 62 the Strand, 60 the two's gone, and the middle unit up there was where I lived at the time and a few others, and Johnny Myers and Squizzy Taylor lived in this block of units too. And so we had this party or get together up there to change the name. There were about 20 odd guys there, and there were 20 odd names put down. Everyone had one name. And so it was a pretty strong meeting, and there was a lot of vigour going on. And at one stage, Dave Byrne, they didn't have the balconies in those days, so the front window there, Dave Byrne fell out of the front window, bounced off the roof down here and landed in the garden. And when we got him back and got him right again so he could vote, we had a vote. And the first vote was 25 entries, 1 vote for each name. The second round of voting, City Club won unanimously. So after all that, no change. Right, now after we got kicked out of the grammar school, which didn't take all that long, we came down here to Queen's Park to do our training. So off to train. Now, as time went by, we started to become a club of our own. We got our own little committee. We had a president called John Guy, also known as Jackie Fly, and now that he's not around anymore, I can say that his real nickname was Jack the Rat. Anyway, he was a very keen president, and we were getting ready to have a reserve grade side, and we were becoming something of some substance. And of course, amongst everything else, we had to have a place to drink. So on Tuesdays and Thursdays after training, we came down here to the Criterion Hotel. The Cry was owned in those days by Bluey Raleigh, and he, of course, was a well-known leaguey around town. And as we stood at the bar there drinking away on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we started to say, there's got to be some better way of doing it than this. We need something of our own, something we can call our own. And so we can train and play and drink and everything all in the one place. But that needed money, and we had no money. Right, by now, a lot of us had moved out to 15 Armstrong Street at Hermit Park. All the guys at 62 The Strand and a few more. Amongst the guys who moved and were living here was Squizzy Taylor, who's still here 40 years later, Tiger Myers, Dave Lloyd, who was my second row partner in 1967, Peter Millos, who was the fastest winger known to mankind, Murray Cameron, not a bad 5'8", and first editor of the Townsville, of the Brolga Bulletin, which was assembled on Saturday mornings in the lounge room floor in here. Nitty Lyons, who was actually a brother's bloke, but we let him stay here because he brought his own sauna with him. Kevin Byrne, who's now the Mayor of Cairns, Chris Phillips, and many others. Now, I'll take you through to the backyard, which was where all the action happened. So here we are, the backyard of 15 Armstrong Street. This is where we raised the money. We started off having a couple of little parties here. Gradually the Crown and Anchor and the Unders and Overs came into it, and we had a lot of functions here, and we raised a lot of money. I recall that what we used to do was to sell tickets. They cost $2 each, and they had 7 clicks on them. And for every click, you got a stubby or a beautiful hamburger with top-class meat, because a lot of the blokes in the club worked at Ross River Meatworks and had very good connections. And I remember the day when we decided to, due to inflation, that we'd chop one of the 7 stickers off and reduced it to 6. So you got 6 stubbies for $2, and you should have heard the mob moan about that. But anyway, that's what we did, and we raised enough money here to go and buy Wounded Knee, our clubhouse. Well, I've just looked over the fence, and let me tell you that the only change to when we left it is the fence. On the other side, it's exactly as we left it. Even the colour scheme's the same. In fact, I don't think it's been painted since we painted it. This was the centre of the Redskins universe for quite some time, from 1971 onwards until we sold. We played here out on the ground behind you. We had home games here, trained here. It was our party headquarters. We had a great time here, as a lot of you will remember. And it was quite a bit of style about some of it, I thought, like the international nights, international food festivals. Christy Myers organised, and we had French, and we had Italian, and we had a memorable Irish night with John Clements and his wife doing the cooking, and of course we had innumerable hungies, and generally had a great time here. Our success here at Wounded Knee led to an A-grade premiership. Well, I hope you've enjoyed that little trip around town and some of the old memories, but really all that I've done is cover the first 10 years of this club, and I'm sure that during the course of tonight other people will talk about other parts of the club, other eras, the Ross River Club, and ultimately the amalgamation of the Ross River Club with the City Club, and what's been happening since then. But unfortunately, the club of today isn't as strong as we would like. Now, I've often thought about why it is that that we aren't as strong a club today as, say, the successful clubs in Townsville, such as Brothers and Teachers. And of course, the difference really is in the administration and the support that those clubs get from their legion of past players, and how we've let the legacy of our past players slip through the fingers of the club. I really don't know. I used to think that it was because the club was largely comprised of itinerants, and so that, unlike Brothers and Teachers, we didn't have a large body of ex-players who were still here in Townsville. But when I got the EGS lists of players for this function tonight, ex-players, and I looked at them and I looked at the addresses, I realised just how many of us are still living here in town. The town's got much bigger, so you don't run into each other as much, and obviously we don't do the same sort of things with our spare time as we used to. But many of us are still here. And if the club in the future is going to survive, and let me assure you, it's almost on the brink of extinction. If we're going to have a live club to celebrate when we come here for our 50th reunion and not a corpse, then we all have to do something about it. And it's going to come down largely to us who are still here in town. It's a shame in a way that Egg, living in Melbourne, was the guy who really put his shoulder to the wheel with help from Tiddles to get us all together for this reunion. Now, what I've asked Rodney to do, in my absence, is to prepare a register for all of you people who are here tonight who still live in Townsville, to come up immediately after this is finished, put your name on the register, and by doing that, and I'm sure you all will, then you're indicating that you've had some pleasure out of the club in the past and you feel something for the club and you'd like to help in whatever way you can. I know we've all got other commitments, and I know we've got our strengths and our weaknesses, but the big thing that a lot of you say when I mention it is, oh, I don't know anyone in the club these days. I don't know any of them. I don't know the players, I don't know the administrators. But if a group of us get together and do more than just go down to Hugh Street and have a couple of jars, do a little bit more than that, then we will know people in the club, we'll know each other. So that's what I'd like you to do. And meanwhile, think of me out there in the battlefields of France while you're having a great night tonight.